Hey everyone, this is Rabbitearsblog and welcome to another general discussion series. Today's general discussion is going to be on my thoughts on having too many characters in a movie. And before we get into this, here are a few words from the channel.
Hey guys, if you want to check out more content from this channel, then tune in every Sunday and Monday for new videos. And if you happen to see any videos posted up during the week, that means that there was a bit of movie and TV news that I wanted to talk about, so those will be considered special videos. And if you want to chat with me on social media or see when new videos are being released, then follow me through Twitter and Facebook. And also, please feel free to join the new Facebook group, Rabbitearsblog Reviews 2.0, where we talk about movies, TV shows, and video games with other fans of the genres. And now, we return to our regularly scheduled program.
So, over the years, there's been a lot of movies that have a lot of characters, and I wanted to talk about how each of those movies were able to handle so many characters and how that could be a problem for the movie itself. So, there are a couple examples of movies that have a lot of characters, but they don't really handle the characters that well. And one of the biggest examples I wanted to talk about is Fox's X-Men films. Like, the X-Men franchise have so many characters, and usually the comics did a good job of balancing all those characters together and giving them each their own story arcs. But then when we went to Fox's X-Men films, they have all these X-Men characters into the film, but they didn't really develop each of the characters that well. Like, for instance, Wolverine is like the main character we see through the eyes of the film. Like, he's the one who gets the main story arcs. He's the one we focus the most on. And yet the other X-Men characters like Cyclops and Storm and Nightcrawler and those don't really get a lot of attention, or they don't really have very effective story arcs that contribute to the story at hand. This is a problem because it feels like they introduce all these X-Men characters into the film, but they don't really do anything with them, and it feels like a waste of time for all these characters. Like, these characters could have been doing something very productive to the film, and yet they're just standing in the background because it's like the writers or the directors and those have no clue what to do with these characters, but feel like they have to introduce these characters into the film because they're very popular in the source material, and yet they don't really have a good story to tell with them in the films. So that's really disappointing in a way when you have your favorite characters being featured into a film and yet they got nothing to do because there's just so many other characters into the film, and you have to balance the story arcs with the other characters, and yet they don't really get developed well because they're being mixed up with all the other characters and the story doesn't really fit them. Another example I want to talk about is Hawkeye's character in the Avengers movie, or at least the first Avengers movie. Like, he spent most of the first Avengers movie being brainwashed and crazy, so we don't really get a chance to hear his thoughts, and we don't really get to know much about his character because he was brainwashed throughout the whole ordeal. It was only until the last few minutes of the film that we got to know a little bit about his character, or at least we got to see him in action, but by that time the film was already over, so we don't really know much about Hawkeye until the next film, Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, there are some good examples about how characters are handled very well in film, and one of the biggest examples I wanted to talk about is Captain America Civil War and how they handle so many characters into one film. Like, they had all the characters from the previous Marvel Cinematic Universe movies come together in one movie, and yet each of these characters were able to contribute a lot to the big plot that's at hand, which was basically the Superhuman Registration Act and how both sides were trying to deal with whose side they should be on. Should they support the rules about superheroes not being able to do superheroics on their own, or should the government be able to tell the superheroes what they should do, or should the superheroes save the world regardless of who tells them when to save the world? And each character in the film tried to contribute to the issues at hand. And they even introduced two new characters in the film, which were Black Panther and Spider-Man. And they did those characters justice, even though we didn't know anything about their backstories. They still contributed a lot to the film. And when we finally get their own solo films after the movie was made, we got more interested in these characters after this film because the film did a good job at having these two characters actually contribute a lot to the plot, even though their backstories weren't revealed to the audience yet. So I think that Captain America Civil War was a really good example about how to juggle so many characters into one film and have each character really contribute to the film. So all in all, I don't think there's anything wrong with having too many characters in the film. It's more like how you treat each character to the film. Like, as long as each character is able to contribute to the plot that's in hand, even if their backstories aren't really explored yet, then you pretty much did a good job with developing all these characters into one film and being able to give each of them a story arc and give each of them something to do, and it doesn't make it feel like we're wasting our time with having all favorite characters being featured in the film, and yet they don't really do anything because the plot line doesn't really require them to do anything, which is a big waste of time for the audience who came to see their favorite characters on the big screen. So those are my thoughts about having too many characters in the movie, and tell me in the comments down below, what do you think about having too many characters in the movie? Do you think that should be a thing, or do you think if it's pulled right, it's the greatest thing to ever happen? Please feel free to comment down below. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rabbitearsblog, and I'll see you guys later.
Hey guys, like this video? Then please feel free to hit that like button. And also, hit that subscribe button for more content about video games, movies, and TV shows from this channel. And now, let's roll the credits, please.